However, for the secret eater amongst us, the toilet system would hold a whole new meaning. Mars bars can survive anywhere, can't they, mate? So, as the weeks of Pete's darts went by, no one in the household could quite understand why Pete actually wasn't losing any weight, and he was actually probably gaining a pound or two.
It's all quite strange, really, because all we ever saw him eat was salad, meat and vegetables. Now, interestingly enough, Paul Mason was a fellow at Sitchin and once clocked the scales at 70 stone. He was the world's fattest man at one stage. But through a disciplined cycle of recording incremental weight loss, this pioneer in weight loss managed to halve his body weight. This exceptional achievement gave our Führer, Mum, the opportunity to apply the same technique and introduce her very own financially incentivised weight book. Pete could have been Ipswich's first 15-year-old millionaire. The deal was £5 in money for every pound lost in weight, somewhat trumping his 25 pence a week pocket money. So this builds in incentive. The principle of the weight book was simple: to remain a happy character whilst gradually chipping away at the excess pounds, which of course brings us back to the graph, and another line which we call the weight book expectation line. Tough, wasn't it, Pete? Now, this weight book, Pete would argue he did have extenuating circumstances. After all, wet wrappers in the system weigh more than dry ones. As Tom and I earned our pocket money, like modelling, being tall, Aryan race, professional sportsman. Anyway, it's not important, but it's not about us. Pete, the astute financial man that he's got his reputation for, found a more lucrative way to earn his pocket money. This delivered a less than satisfactory result with the Führer. Which also adds another line onto our graph, the weight book results line. It doesn't make for good reading. At 15 stone for those of you that are looking. So, the Holy Grail proving elusive, with all his mathematical genius, he just couldn't work out how to tilt the weight book axis in his favour.
So, during the week, while Ben and I were out socialising, Pete's Thursday night ritual was slightly different. Mum went into the bathroom, gathered the scales, downstairs, picked up a sharp pencil, the weigh-in book, and took down Pete's particulars. To be fair to the guy though, he's not actually in bad shape these days. But they always say, when you've got a lot more to lose, the first bit happens quicker. So, oh, come on. So, for the record though, if we're actually following the graph, Pete, you've probably hit your target, and your target would have been your 2002 weight expectation point, which was about there. Just 12 years too late, mate. Anyway, with Pete's fluctuating weight, there never came one or two health issues along the way, didn't there? One came quite early in his eating career. The other one came 15 years later with his battle with sugar. The continued strain took its toll on Pete's knees, and this vicious cycle of being too fat to run, but needing to run to shed the timber, he needed to look elsewhere. Where was he going to look? We all want to know.
So, after consulting with his GP, Pete was reliably informed that his metabolism was working normally, digestion was normal. He was just a normal guy, really. Leaving one possible outcome: nuts. He lacked nuts. True to my word, his estrogen levels were through the roof. Was Lucy getting the sister she always wanted? Which brings us, of course, to the sister line.
No, you're here. It's good. Trust me.
What? 14 stone? Next
Just to clarify, it's not to scale for that one. Anyway, after various supplements extortionately priced by the local personal trader, Pete started to get back into shape. Some of you might start to be thinking that Pete's a little bit weight conscious. However, this speech can't all obviously be about Pete's weight. Sure, I mean high estrogen levels, permanent reminders how big his guns are, walking around with his shirt off when he's in a slimming phase. All of this is very good, but it does start to show, you know, a soft, feminine side to Pete.
You need to plug it in. Me? All time.
So anyway, Pete, let's talk about feminine Pete for a little bit. Walking the dog one morning as part of his fitness regime. Mum saw him coming in, not really quite sure what was going on, so went to greet him at the bottom of the gate. Now our PG was in floods of tears, holding his poor little mangled Meximatosis bunny rabbit. Annie G, the Führer, the merciful. Keen to lesson Pete on the facts of life, polished Roger off with a spade. The guy was heartbroken. Roger was no more. This left a very young, disillusioned Pete, determined to help his animal friends. And it wasn't long before Ben and Pete found another victim. A poor pigeon in the garden. I'll be honest with you, this pigeon had also seen better days. It had a broken wing and a bloodied face. And it was giving you all the telltale signs it didn't have a great racing career ahead of it. Honestly, you wouldn't be wrong heading your bets on the rabbit at that time. Anyway,
Aside from this, Pete and I, being the lovely guys that we are, decided we believed in this pigeon, we believed it, we dared to dream. This is a tough one for me. After cleaning up the bird's wounds, Pete and I put the pigeon in a box with a warm rug, dreaming that we could nurse it back to full health. And you wouldn't believe it. The next morning, Pete and I come downstairs and the pigeon that Pete and I had now named Lucky had gone. We'd done it. Dr. Doolittle and his assistant. We had done it. Well, anyway, that's how the story went for about 9-10 years until Tom decided that Pete and I were old enough to know the truth. We were strong enough. Never. So at this stage, I'm probably 21, Pete 23. Tom sits us down in the kitchen to break the news. Lucky was in fact very unlucky. Tom had put it out of its misery, and it followed the same path as our Roger. So this all shows that Pete's weight has a direct influence on his emotional state. And with fun Pete comes emotional, unstable Pete. So this would be the opportune moment to cross out half this graph. This is the area that Tom and I were discussing, and we thought the appropriate name from it is I'm a Little Princess Danger Zone.
We've still got half of this graph to go, and I think probably the next best area to tackle is Pete 11 and a half stone. What we're going to call this little area here, that's the training zone. So, the training zone. Everyone can see the training zone? Right. Now I beg you all, please don't go anywhere near that animal when he's in the training zone. The funny hungry hippo turns into a stampeding rhino. This guy will stop for nothing. And if you've seen this happening, please give him a Mars bar, a flump, just try and encourage him back towards the guy we all know and love. Back to the sister line. Just bring him back up there before he's lost forever. Ben.
Pete, that's all the bad stuff, mate. This leaves us with the final area on the graph that we like to call the good Pete zone, which is pretty much the rest of it. For those of you who can see, that unfortunately is about 40% of the graph. 90% of anything good Pete has done has come out of this area of the graph. Mate, think of your potential. And it's while Pete's in this zone that you see the glimpses of brilliance and charm that Pete has had with the ladies over the past.
So the ladies. Let's move away from the chart. I suppose, yeah, let's talk about Pete's previous conquest. Well, we might as well give up now. There we go. That was easy. So, Pete's prior form with the ladies is miserable. With his hormonal imbalance, Pete preferred to seek the sanctuary of his bedroom. On a weeknight, he was never in the firing line for any spiralling phone bills. He just decided to take himself off to his room. And if I'm honest, to this day, none of the family actually know what he did week in, week out, in the room, by himself all night. But that's Pete. This terrible form with the ladies may help to explain that when he found the one, the public, still in disbelief, required proof that he had secured a mate. And Pete pulled out all the stops. So first up, £600. That seems about the amount that you'd spend on a professional photo shoot, doesn't it, Pete? You, Hannah, and the dogs, Charlie and Jess, God rest their soul.
No, Jess is still
Sorry,
here,
mate.
mate. Jess is still
Oh,
here.
God. I meant Charlie. Oh, God, I miss her. It's just I miss her so much. Anyway. And other gifts that Pete has done from the heart. And the two most important gifts to note here. The first one was a mouse mat. Yes, a mouse mat. Not great with the ladies, Pete. Anyway, this mouse mat, I think it read something like, "To someone you are the world, but to the world you are someone," or something along those lines. I couldn't get hold of the mouse mat, but it was a lovely note that Pete had written for Hannah. And this wasn't the only one. There was also another heart-related gift. Pete had spent a couple more evenings than usual in his room, and we began to see what Pete was doing up there. The paper mache expert had moulded a 1 foot square paper mache 3D heart in pink for Hannah. You wet bollock.
Despite all the above, though, there is the odd occasion where Ben and I are both proud to have another brother. PG, mate, you've got a short temper and you do refuse to compromise. But sometimes you're a very good sounding board. And that may be one of the better attributes that was passed down to you by your father, who I'm sure would be incredibly proud of the man you've become and the partner you have chosen. PG, mate, you're loyal, grumpy, and kind. And sometimes you're wise beyond your age, mate. As we, as friends and brothers,